be like a life risker or a gladiator of old times. That's what made my life worthwhile at that time.
From the day he formed Evel Knievel's motorcycle daredevils back in 1965, my guest this evening has devised and orchestrated some of the most unique and outrageous stunts imaginable. I am very happy to welcome him now. Evel, it is good to have you on the program. How are you?
Thank you, Jim. It's a pleasure to be on the best sports show in America.
Well, Evel, I appreciate that very much. Hey, listen, you got to tell me how you got into the business originally. I mean, when did you, if I jump over things, people will like that and I will be an icon?
Well, I never thought that. I raced motorcycles all over the United States and at Ascot Speedway here in Gardena for J.C. Agajanian. He was a director of racing, and he later became my business partner at Indy and at other promotions. Anyway, you'd win a main event, you wouldn't win enough money to buy a box of Cracker Jacks. American Motorcycle Association and the promoters really didn't pay very much money. So there was a man named Jack McCormick who was the head of Honda. He created a slogan, "You meet the nicest people on Honda." And I had been in the Honda business up in the state of Washington. So I thought that because of the popularity of motorcycling in the country right then, that they would support a full 2-hour motorcycle daredevil show like Joey Chitwood and his Auto Daredevils. So I hired a lot of guys, 6 or 7 guys, and got some trucks and trailers together, borrowed money from my father-in-law and did all kinds of things and put the show together. My first one was at Indio, the date grounds where people retire. Lawrence Welk had a nice place up there. Anyway, needless to say, I didn't draw a lot of people, but Lee Marvin was there for that show.
Right.
And Lee was a friend of mine. He told me, he said, "You know what, you got a great show." I had a little midget working for me. He was a clown, wonderful guy named Butch Wilhelm. But when I got hurt, nobody else would do the jump. Nobody. I mean, I was the only one that would jump that jump, and I only jumped a couple of pickup trucks.
Hey, Evel, not to state the obvious, but it would take a different cat to get on a bike and jump over things.
I never thought that I'd ever jump. I mean, I've jumped 50-some vehicles in Los Angeles Coliseum that were stacked on each other, and I've jumped as many as 21 in a row at one time. It just didn't work because I got hurt so much, and it took such a long time for me to heal. But the jump got so much publicity that racetrack promoters started calling me and say, "Would you jump here, and I'll give you $1 a ticket, $2 a ticket." And I want to keep the concessions, of course, and everything, which they do.
Right.
But I'd go to jump, and largest crowd they ever had at Ascot Speedway. I went and jumped my first jump on ABC Wide World of Sports.
So you're doing it, you're getting paid, people love this, and then all of a sudden in '68, you end up at Caesar's Palace.
Yes.
Now this one did not go well. You end up at Caesar's Palace, you get splattered all over the pavement, you're in a coma for a month, you're in the hospital for 6 months. What went wrong on that jump?
I was about 2 miles an hour too short. I had a van and a steel plate parked right in front of the landing ramp, and I thought that I made a perfect jump, but when I hit the van, it just threw me up over the handlebars and down on the pavement. I landed all the way down, never touched that ramp. I landed all the way down on my back. I crushed my pelvis, and my helmet, that helmet just saved my life. It was an unbelievable thing. I was awake till I got to the hospital, and then for 30 days I was
And then you took a month-long nap. Evel, what gets you back up on the bike after something like that?
It's just the way I am. I would come out of that operating room and tell my wife or whoever was with me, call up Agajanian and tell them I'll be at Ascot the day I'm supposed to be there, or call Harry Redkey at Phoenix, call the Pocono Speedway, I'll be there. And I would do that. Doctors would tell me I couldn't, that my arms were broke and that I had plates in them, but I healed greatly. I really had a great recuperative power.
Well, here's something. It's always been said that you've broken every bone in your body. Is that true?
No. It's in the Guinness World Book of Records, even the Ripley's, believe it or not. Don't believe anything that you hear and only half of what you see. It's BS. I have not broken every bone in my body. I broke maybe 30 of them. I broke some major bones. I've broken this arm in half, my left femur. I've had plates put in me, which is an inner cast, and I've healed up and then had the plates taken out. When I'd go to San Francisco, for instance, to jump in the Cow Palace,
right,
I knew it was going to be a tough jump. So I told the doctor, I got my own surgeon. He was from right here at St. Joseph's Hospital in Burbank, Dr. Graham. I said, "Dr. Graham, if I go break something, you have to take it out while I'm asleep, or you have to put a new one in me while I'm asleep, take the other one out." I didn't have any insurance. Nobody to insure me. I mean, I had to have 2 operations done at the same time.
Okay, now what about 1974, Snake River? I mean, this is one of the all-time stunts, but it's not the one that you wanted. What you really wanted was the Grand Canyon.
Well, I did. I had made a deal with the Department of Interior and Raymond Nakai, who was the chairman of the Navajo Indian Reservation Nation. to jump it, and they gave me their blessing. Stuart Udall, he was our Secretary of Interior. But when they found out I was serious and I started moving those big pieces of equipment in up there, the Department of Interior got a lot of problems from the rest of the government, and they bought a restraining order against me and told me they would put me in jail if I didn't cease. So I went to Idaho, and I made a deal with a farming family up there, the Qualls
Go back to the
family.
Grand Canyon, excuse me. How do you go from buses? Now, I understand upping the ante, wanting to stretch things out, make records, set records. How do you go from jumping over buses to the biggest hole in the ground in the...
Want to know the truth? I was in Moose's Tavern in Kalispell, Montana, with a buddy of mine named Chuck Shelton. We're drunk, drinking beer and eating pizza. We looked at a calendar on the wall. It's a Grand Canyon. He says to me, "That's what you ought to jump, that canyon." Well, I didn't really realize how big it was because I'd never seen it. I got on the phone right then and put a quarter in it and made a collect call to the Department of Interior. Now, Stuart Udall had known me before. When they were slaughtering all the elk in Yellowstone Park, as a publicity stunt, I hitchhiked back to Washington, D.C. with a big set of elk horns.
Right.
Went in the rotunda, saw President Kennedy with Senator Mike Mansfield, gave him the elk and told him if he didn't, the elk horns, told him if he didn't stop the slaughter of elk in Yellowstone Park, that his son John would look at the head of an elk on a nickel like my kids did a buffalo. He said, "You're right, you got a great idea, we'll stop the slaughter, we'll start to transplant the elk." I was the one that was responsible for the transplanting of the elk in Yellowstone Park. So he sent me over to meet Udall. So I met Udall. And he said, I'll stop this slaughter for you, we'll see what we can do. So he knew me, so I made a collect call to him. He took the call. I told him I wanted to jump that Grand Canyon on a motorcycle or a rocket, and he sent me a letter. Said, "You have my best wishes for success in your undertaking."
Well, I'm pretty surprised the two of you fellas were blasted when you came up with that idea.
Boy, we sure were, I'll tell you what. I think I was drinking wild turkey and beer at the same time. I don't want to do that no more.
Do me a favor, sit tight, Evel. When we come back, we'll do another segment. More with Evel Knievel when the last word returns right after this.
You're watching Fox Sports Net.
Welcome back. I'm joined once again right here in studio by Evel Knievel. Well, you still got that flair. You still got that flavor. Look at that shirt. What's that all about?
That's made by Dragonfly right here in California.
Yeah, nice.
They make some beautiful shirts.
Looking good. Evel, Snake River didn't work. You did not make it, and you've gotten some flack for that.
It was not my fault.
Yes, I was going to say, you've gotten some flack for that, and I know you don't appreciate it. Whose fault was it?
It was the engineer's fault, Bob Truax. He made the mistake. He fired another test rocket a couple weeks before that went right in the river. The parachute malfunctioned. The G-load on that rocket blew that parachute right out on that launch pad. I did not touch that parachute release button. I took a show here. I took a lie detector test on a show here, the F. Lee Bailey lie detector test. I passed it 100%. You know, that rocket, I only had $250,000 in that little can. The government spent billions of dollars trying to launch astronauts from Cape Canaveral on up to the moon, to space. They burnt Gus Grissom and two other astronauts.
Why do you want to work with a guy who burned Gus Grissom to death?
Well, he wasn't actually one of the guys that did it, but he did work on the team. I had a lot of faith in the guy. He's egotistical, but you got to work with a guy like that thinks he really knows what he's doing. He had a Briggs & Stratton lawnmower engine attached to the rocket to heat the water inside. It was a steam rocket. I thought it was a mistake, but every time I'd argue with him, he'd butt heads with me. He didn't have to worry about it. You know why? He said he would have never got in it. I was the one that got in it. So.
Now, you're not done yet. You actually are thinking you're going to open up the Evel Knievel Cafe in spring in Nevada. You're going to make another jump, aren't you?
That's Evel Knievel experience. It's not. The cafe's involved there, in a sports bar and a beautiful restaurant, memorabilia center, everything I've ever owned for 35 years. I only donated one motorcycle in my life. That was to the Smithsonian Institute. It's on display in Washington, D.C. I'm going to have everything there. We're going to be open next spring at the Fashion Outlets of Las Vegas, Prim, Nevada, which is state line.
What kind of jump are we talking about?
A big one. I'll jump probably 50 or 65 feet further than Caesar's Palace. I mean, I'm going to make a big jump.
Yeah,
It's going to be the last jump.
You nearly died trying to jump Caesar's Palace back in the day when you had it going on. You were in great shape. You were in your prime. That nearly killed you. And you want to go 60 feet farther than that?
Well, this is going to be my last jump, and I'm doing this because
it might be.
It might be. I'm doing this because I want to. I couldn't pull the trigger anymore after 1980. I just couldn't. And I went through a tough time in my life. I mean, I've been recuperating for a long time. I got hepatitis C through transfusions, blood that was injected into me during operations, and I lost my liver. I mean, I had to have a liver transplant, and I was in intensive care in the hospital in Tampa. Lifelink, I'd been on their list for almost a year, and they gave me about 2 or 3 days to live.
All right, exactly. So you beat back all of this. I risk it all with a jump like that. In fact, I'm going to ask you a question straight up. You're not looking to go out with a blaze of glory, are you?
No. I love being Evel Knievel and doing what I'm doing. As far as I'm concerned, the rest of you are out of step. That's just the way I feel about it. I love to risk my life so that I can live, and I just can't explain it to you. I do it because I'm me, and I'm going to keep on being me. I've had a rough past few years, and I've faced a lot of adversity. I've been disappointed and let down by a lot of people, and I just had to pick myself up, and I feel wonderful, and I feel ready to do it.
You know, you point out there was a time, though, when you no longer could pull the trigger, so you stopped doing it. At the same time, you're not afraid to die, are you?
No. I'm not looking forward to it, but I believe the stronger your spirit is on the face of the earth here, the more of a good human being you are, thing by others because it's right, that your spirit will go on and be much stronger in the future. However, I also have another side to me. I believe that people that have wronged me should pay for that. I wouldn't want me mad at me. And there are 2 or 3 individuals here on the face of the earth that aren't looking for a doctor to tell me that I got 60 days to live because...
Who?
I don't want to mention any names, but believe me, I am a vindictive person to people who've wronged me. I mean, I really am.
You know, you said you're not looking forward to dying.
No.
Last week, though, when you and I talked, you were.
What do you mean?
Because I said to you, you're not afraid to die, and you said, no, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, why the hell not? Why not look forward to it? God put you here to be the best, do the best, and live the best that you can. When He's ready, He's going to take you, and a human being cannot ask for a better deal than that. Let's just say I'm concerned about dying. I'm not afraid of anything, but I am a little concerned. I love life so much. I love to live it to the hilt, and I want to. And to me, to make this jump and to be successful at it, at my age, I'm going to be 64 next year, I want to prove to people, just because you're retired and the laws of society say they want to constitute your morals and tell you you're retired, you're done, you're not done. Get out of your bathrobe and your slippers and off your ass from in front of the television. Do something for yourself. Do you remember when you were a little boy, you walked out one day and you saw the sunlight, you saw the dew on the flowers, and there was a smell in the air, and you were young and full of piss and vinegar. You got to have that.
I'll get up off the couch. I'll even smell the roses, but I'm not getting on a bike and jumping over 1,000 buses. In fact, I know you're very analytical about this. What are your chances of making this last jump?
They're great. I'm not going to miss it. I'm going to go so fast I can't miss it. I'm going to lower the front end of the takeoff ramp a little bit. I'm 25 or 35 miles an hour, and I'm going to lower the trajectory. I'm going to go all the way across that thing, and believe me, when that day comes, I will be strong enough to hang on to that landing. And I'm testing motorcycles right now. I'm going to ride the best, the safest, and the strongest engine-powered motorcycle in the world, and I am going to make it. I'm going to do it. I can do it.
Okay, sit tight. We'll come back. We'll do one last segment. More with Evel Knievel when the last word returns right after this. We're back for one last segment with Evel Knievel. You know, Evel, you had a time when you bought a lot of things. I mean, I'm talking yachts, boats, horses, cars, houses, helicopters, you name it. But my favorite thing ever was that diamond-encrusted walking stick that you would break open and fill up a wild turkey. That's not it, is it?
I gave that to my grandma. She died when she was 103. This one comes apart just like the other one did. I used to put 5 flasks of whiskey in the other one, but since the liver transplant, I don't drink that hard booze anymore, and very seldom a beer, so she took that to her grave with her.
You know, I'm sorry to hear about that, but I'm glad that it ended up with her. But at the same time, not to be too presumptuous, you and I are pretty good. I was going to ask you for that bad boy. I was hoping you'd bequeath that to me.
Well, I'll leave you this. How's that?
I'll take that. I'll take that, but we can't have a drink out of that thing, can we?
Yeah, I can. It holds a flask, too.
Yeah, it does, right?
I kind of overdid everything I did. I think maybe...
Any regrets?
I have no regrets. Maybe one thing that I just happened to go through, but no regrets other than that.
The marriage?
Yeah, it's been a mistake, big mistake.
Well, we'll hit that next time. Listen, you're here in Los Angeles. What do you got going this weekend?
I am very proud to say that Ford Motor Company has joined with Galpin Ford here in Los Angeles in making a new Evel Knievel Gladiator Ford pickup that's red, white, and blue, and I'm going to be there this weekend to unveil the truck and sign some autographs. And Galpin Ford here in L.A., I'm really looking forward to it. What a compliment.
Okay, we will look forward to that. Evel, I will run you down before that last jump. Nice to have you on the program.
Come
Glad
to
you made
Vegas.
time.
When you come to Vegas, hit
I'll be there
State
for
Line
it.
and see my beautiful place at the Fashion Outlets in a Prim. Play golf. We got 2 beautiful golf
You got
courses.
it, ball around. We'll do it all. All right, Evel, good to see you. Good luck.
Thank you for having me.
Nice to see you.
Appreciate
All
it.
right, that's it for now. I am Jim Rome. This has been The Last Word. Thank you for watching. We are out.
Boy, what a good